Welcome to the Fur's greatest podcast in the world. I'm Khord Kitty, your host, and it is episode 41. Oh boy, we've made it to 41. Holler, holler, holler. We have quite a few people, a full house. In reverse alphabetical order, we have Umi the Panda, Murphylicious the Spy, Mr. Fire the Flareon, I'm Khord Kitty, Kagii the Wolf Tiger, Fennec the Fox, Double D the DragonDog, Cobalt the Dalmation, and Atsu Fawx. Oh yes, it's going to be quite fun. We have so much to talk about in so little time. Let's get to the first topic. The first topic of the day is my topic, Rainforest. It's going to be happening in a week, and I've never been to it. I have heard nothing but good things about the con, although I have heard it is the baby fur con from several people.
Oh boy, have fun.
Baby fur.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's a rumor. I will have to get some confirmation from a few more people, but it could be just a rumor. But I do know several baby furs who do enjoy Rainforest.
Just to specify exactly what does that mean, baby fur?
A baby fur is somebody who has a fursona who is a baby, so they wear diapers and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just sounds interesting.
Oh. Yes.
That narrows it down.
Like, they don't all wear diapers, but I'm guessing some do. All right, next topic. Furloween. Do they distribute any candy at all?
Oh, yeah. It's not technically a fur con. It's small gathering. It's held over here in Orlando, Florida.
Furloween, is it something worth traveling all the way to Florida to go to? Because I know most people I know were pretty far away from Florida.
Basically, the ones who run it are KP and Yappy Fox, and a lot of the same staffers that run Megaplex run it. So it's very well organized, and it's usually a really good time.
Someone I held a meet yesterday, and I met someone that was from Florida, and he was mentioning some of the Florida cons. Turlo, he was talking to me about it. And I might ask him if I should go. I
believe Double D lives in Florida, so he's very aware of those cons.
Well, it's always a fight between Elliott's and Furloween, Megaplex, and Elliott Spring Gathering, because Carmi and KP and Yappy have always butted heads or whatever, and there's always competition between them, so they always try to outdo each other. The Furloween one, I would definitely recommend it if, you're into the Halloween thing. And
how about if I'm a furry who wants free candy and I'm too old to trick or treat?
Oh yeah,
excellent.
You're never too old to trick or treat.
It's very, very interesting because it's actually held in like a little elk lodge. They reserve an area in this lodge for just us, and they serve us dinner. They open up the bar for us. They give us a room for the Headless Lounge and all that.
Hopefully there's not too many really cool panels during Halloween at Furpocalypse, because I would love to go trick-or-treating in suit. I mean, I did that once back in, I think, 2009, and it was really fun.
One thing you can always do if, for the whole you're never too old to trick-or-treat, you can just say your little brother or sister is sick and you're trick-or-treating for them. That way you get candy.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, that would always
that might be a
I
to
think it's ever like you're too old thing. I think it's like you're too tall. Like they can tell an adult body from a child's body, because I have little friends that are like older than me, but they're like short and like really skinny. They go fucking trick-or-treating every year, and I'm like, well, fuck you, I'm too tall. Like they're like, what is this big ass dude tricking for?
I'm probably gonna go.
But that makes for great costumes if you're so tall. Like go as Slender Man or something.
My friend did that once, and it literally freaked out everybody in the remote area we were staying in.
Cops were called. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, that actually happened. Cops were called to the freaking place.
I'm actually trying to decide what to do for Halloween because I live in one of the most haunted cities in the U.S. Yay!
Well, you're close to Furloween. You're closer to Furloween than any of us other than Double D.
I was invited to go on a free ghost tour in a horse and carriage, so I might do that and just go scare people. So. If I can find a furry friend who wants to go, which Josh might want to go, we might head down there. It's just going to be like a probably 3-hour drive, so it'd be like just a thing we have to plan out.
How about let's go to the next topic. Umi, you have something to say about cosplayers, which is sort of...
Hi, yeah, I do. Okay, so a while ago at the convention, MomoCon that's held in Atlanta as well as AWA, there was a cosplayer who, she was removed from the convention for her cosplay. But this was after she had been very rude with the staff, obviously, because someone apparently had wolf whistled at her, and she couldn't identify who it was because it was from a crowd. And so, I mean, and just all this stuff came out about how if her costume, was proper enough to wear, or, whatever. It was, she was showing a lot of skin, I'll say that much. Her cleavage was out there. Showing a lot of skin, but she was saying, but her argument was, dogs. Her argument was that
her argument was dogs.
They don't like, my dogs don't like this. They're mad because I'm up here. So her argument was that she was allowed to wear it because there were younger kids wearing skimpier costumes, which I don't understand that. I don't care. Doesn't matter. It's over. So recently in the Anime Weekend Atlanta Facebook group, I had posted a picture of my cosplay lineup, which one of the costumes was the infamous Mega Milk costume. So it's just for a joke because me and my friend bought me a Mega Milk t-shirt and he was just like, you need to cosplay it. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm doing it as a joke and for my friends. I wasn't going to do it seriously or whatever. And someone in the comments posted, Mega Milk. And I was like, this is going to be a fun cosplay. My dogs don't agree with me. And I said, yes. I said, I'm worried that I'm going to be creeped on though. And I said, but it doesn't matter. I will try to have as much fun as I can, whether or not someone's being a creep or not. And later I got another comment on the post that was from someone that was apparently from the public safety staff of AWA. And they said that you need to read our cosplay guidelines. And I didn't understand, so I said, what are you referring to? And he said, your comment about being creeped on. And he was like, the first thing that he said that like sent off red lights in my head was, don't make our job any harder than it already is.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, please explain, how is a costume that's literally a t-shirt and shorts, not even booty shorts, I'm not even wearing booty shorts. I was like, how is a costume that has a t-shirt and shorts going to be, rude? And I didn't really understand, and we continued on for a bit, and I finally brought in the fact about, the Victoria's Secret models. Last year we had some cosplayers who dressed up literally in nothing but Victoria's Secret bra and underwear and had the wings. And they were walking around like that.
Oh my god.
And
that to me sounds more like an excuse to do it than anything else.
Yeah, no, everyone was pretty upset about it, but that's besides the point.
I've heard of worse.
I mentioned it to him, and he was like, oh yeah, they okayed it. And then he said, but whatever happens to you isn't our fault because you're wearing a costume that brings attention to yourself.
That is absolutely untrue. Is this coming from the safety staff?
This was coming from safety staff, and
that's absolutely their problem.
I have the screenshots of everything that he said, and I mentioned them again. I said, did you tell that to the Victoria's Secret model girls? I was like, did you tell them that if they dress this way, that any harassment or pictures or whatever that they receive is their own fault because they dress that way? I told him, I was like, I want to go to this con and feel safe wearing a costume that to begin with isn't even skimpy at all.
They're like the police of the con. For a police officer to basically tell you your safety is your problem, that's not right.
Exactly. And now I'm starting to, wonder exactly, how much do the cons really even care? Because I want to go to a con, whether it's an anime, comic book, furry, I want to go to a con and make sure that I will be okay. I want to make sure that I will not be harassed, whether it's sexual or, whatever, verbal, whatever. I want to make sure that I'm not harassed, or anybody should be harassed for that matter.
Absolutely.
So I contacted staff, and they said they were going to talk to him about it, and then I looked and the comment was removed. I still have the photos. He's not going to live this down. And I really wish that there was some kind of compensation. I want to know that everything's going to be okay. They just said, yeah, we're going to talk to him, and that's all I ever heard. They didn't tell me, that I was okay. Nothing. Nothing.
No insurance at all.
You should bring that to the public attention.
I was thinking about it. I've drafted a post for Tumblr and everything. It's just it's very scary because normally I would cosplay men because I, number one, fit better into the male, I guess, actions. Some of the male characters I can act better
body
as.
Shape.
Well, body shape too, yeah. And there's also, I just started cosplaying females, like Sarah's Victoria from Hellsing. She was my first female cosplay. And so I started getting into female costumes, and Mega Milk was just a joke one that I wanted to do for a few hours to have fun. And it's scary because that was always been my fear, was I'm going to be harassed, because I have been harassed outside of conventions, at little small cosplay convents, and just even out general, I've been harassed and touched and everything like that. And so this is really upsetting, though, because recently a lot of people have been mentioning the movement of cosplay does not equal consent. Even the magnificent D. Pity, is it P. Diddy? D. Pity? The Deadpool cosplayer that dances. Yeah. The wonderful Deadpool cosplayer that makes videos and so on, he made a video recently that was about cosplay and consent, and it's kind of hurtful. I mean, this could go for fursuits too, because I know there are quite a few things that fursuits, some furries will touch people in fursuits that they don't want to be touched like that, And so it's bringing up, the idea of, should we have more stricter rules for this kind of stuff?
The fact that we even have to have this conversation is pathetic. Like, let's just not touch people and enjoy cosplay for what it is, and not molest people publicly.
How I see it, it's as simple as victim blaming, and it happens among people who are, I don't know, their mind is just kind of messed up. I mean, that's the only way to put it.
Yeah.
In a lot of cons, I've seen patrons actually get so excited that they just forget that you're a human. These other people are humans. They're not the actual character they think you are, and it's like they forget how to be a human when they go to these things. They get so excited.
Yep, that's
what starts most of this, and it's kind of sad.
The only thing I could say is, once they cross the line, don't hesitate. Get their number, like the number, the badge number, and go straight to con-ops, because sexual harassment is not something anyone should ever tolerate for any reason.
Exactly, and I also fear for younger cosplayers, because when if a younger cosplayer goes up and cosplays their favorite, character, what if they get harassed? Sometimes they're going to be too scared to say anything. And at least I feel as if the staff doesn't need to be so lazy, and at least keep an eye for everybody. Because like the dude said to me, he was like, don't make our job any harder than it already is. I was like, most of the things that AWA staff does anyway is sit in a chair and look for badges.
Yes,
that's most of what staff does.
Well, yes, that's what, If somebody says, don't make our jobs harder than it already is, that's when you say, then get a different job.
Mm-hmm.
You signed up for this.
I did comment. I said, it's a job. I was like, I commented, I said, it's a job. It's going to be hard regardless.
This might be kind of a drastic question, but is there anywhere in your cosplay costume where you could fit pepper spray or something like that, just in case worse comes to worse and the staff is not doing its job?
Well, thankfully, I do follow a pretty good rule for cons, and that's not to walk ever by yourself alone. And so I constantly have someone with me, whether or not I have to make a new friend on the spot. I always make sure I'm in a very crowded area, and I make sure that I'm near people that I know at least, or I'm near a staff member. And, I mean, not to mention AWA is just not... It's a really big con. The staff is just rude to everyone. They're rude to me every year I've been. I go for my friends. 2 years ago, I was cosplaying Alucard from Hellsing, and I had left my bag. Mind you, I had just bought this bag. All it had was a few papers in it, and it was flat. My friend was in a panel room. It was too hot. I was sitting outside. I thought, okay, she's going to be in there for the next, 20 minutes. I'm going to do a lap around the convention center. So I get up, start walking. Halfway through, I'm just like, wait, I left my bag outside the door. And I was like, it has my phone in it. So I run back, and there is a dude, an older male, maybe 45, 46, and he's holding my bag in the air. And he's screaming, whose is this? Whose is this?
Well then.
And I move over, and he's wearing complete, full, military garb, everything. Face paint, everything. And I'm just like, it's mine, sir. And he goes, do you know you could have planted a bomb in this? He's like, you could have blown this whole place up. And I'm just...
Oh, my gosh.
All you saw was I was actually standing there yelling at me. I was just crying. I don't like people yelling at me, and especially when it was just over a bag. And I started crying, and the staff member comes over, and she's like, shut up, and pushes him away, grabs my bag and hands it to me, and she goes, make sure you keep up with your stuff. Later at the con, he finds me, and he starts harassing me, going, you could have bombed this place. He's like, there's so many shootings and bombings. I'm like, bro, I'm just a tiny little girl dressed up as a vampire. Why are you yelling at me? I feel that, some of the cons maybe need to rethink their rules and stuff, or at least add a little bit more enforcement. I mean, I've said this to several con friends that I know who are on staff at conventions, that the customer's always right. And at conventions, that can be a thing. And the thing is, if the staff looks pissy, then the con goers are going to feel pissy. That's just how it works.
If you if you don't want to do the job, don't sign up to do it.
Yeah, see, the sad thing is some people volunteer so they can get money back on their tickets. It's just like, save up the money and go. It's like, if you're going to sit there and yell at me in line and tell me, just be completely hateful to me, then I'm not
miserable the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember last year. Now, I don't say every Homestuck cosplayer is like this, but I was reading an article from someone who is a cosplayer and works at the hotel and mall that A was held at, and they mentioned that the Homestucks had jumped into the pool, covered in their gray paint to clean off.
Oh, yes.
They jumped in the pool to clean off instead of getting in the shower. They also stole a toilet. I'm not even kidding. I can't make this up. My friend has video proof of this. Yes, an entire toilet.
God.
Well,
there were maybe 5 Homestucks, and they ushered into the male's bathroom. My friend was in there when they did this.
Well, toilets are expensive.
They all go into one stall, and he just goes, okay, maybe they're going to do some weird Homestuck thing, I don't know. And then he hears, clang, clang, clang. He hears, clanging. And he's like, what are they doing? And then suddenly he sees 5 people walk out with a tarp, and under that tarp is a toilet.
That sounds like some high school senior prank shit right there.
I don't understand.
What do you have a toilet, bruh?
And then, also, I remember they had a 4chan panel there, and as a joke, the mall there is called the Cobb Galleria. So they started putting corn on the cob everywhere. There was corn on cars and fountains. You'd walk into the male bathroom, and there would be corn in the urinals. There was just corn everywhere.
Oh, that is awesome.
I mean, I can see why A-Wood staff would be kind of pissy when they have to deal with stuff like that.
But you know what? I mean, the stealing the toilet, that's not okay. But the corn thing,
that was pretty
great.
Funny. I'll admit, that was hilarious. You would just be walking in the hallway and you'd see corn scattered, and we didn't know what was going on. We're just like, why is there corn everywhere? We'd go to sit down, and there'd be corn in the seats, and then some of them would have faces, and we're just like, what is going on?
Oh my god.
Oh, that's great.
But, I mean, cons can have their ups and downs, and I just think that maybe some cons should rethink some of their rules and at least enforce a little bit more when it comes to protecting their patrons.
Yeah.
Because that's who's bringing them the money, is the patrons.
As far as security goes, what it's going to come down to is, people that actually want to do their jobs and be security for the cons are going to do a good job. Those that have no interest in doing it or don't want to be there, are only there for the cheaper ticket, blah, 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 they're the ones that are going to be dicks, and they're not going to give a shit about anyone but themselves, and they're just generally not going to care.
All right, let's go on to the next topic. Cobalt,
yes.
You have some sort of topic about pre-purchasing something.
Yes, and that's all right. So here's an anecdote, and if anyone knows me other than Khord, if you ever hear me say here's an anecdote, it's probably not going to be a good story. So the last time I was on the show, we had talked about pre-purchasing video games, pre-ordering games, yeah. And the whole issue with pre-ordering games was, you buying something that's not complete. The developers don't really have any incentive to do it when they're already being paid for it, blah, 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 blah. You get the idea. So this has been going on in the fur community too, in the form of art. So great example is I commissioned an artist to do some pictures of me, an artist that I've been watching for years and years and years and years. It was actually one of the main artists that got me into the fandom. And basically I had said, I want to get some art from you. And he says, okay, pay me up front and you'll get the picture, blah, blah, blah. So I paid him up front, pretty hefty sum. And 3 years goes by.
Oh my goodness.
3 years goes by. 3 years goes by, and I have a half-completed sketch and nothing more.
Well then. Wow.
And I said, I understand that you're busy. Believe me, I know what it's like to be busy, but it's been 3 years. You're telling me in 3 years you've got a half-completed sketch? Come on now. And the worst part is, that's not the only one. I've had people that I've commissioned and paid up front, and it's taken them a year and a half. And, I know artists that their commission policy is strictly payment up front. And I'm at the point now where I just have to say, if your policy is payment up front, I can't do business with you. I just can't. I hate the whole.
That is understandable.
I don't like the whole, one bad apple spoils the bunch. And I'm pretty good about giving people second chances. But when you pay $200 for something to get done and it's not done after 3 years,
you should be able to get a refund.
Oh yeah, or you pay $180 to get something else done, and that doesn't get done for a year and a half. It's like this, you're kind of ruining, not only are you ruining your reputation, but you're ruining the reputation of other artists that follow the same procedures you do.
Now, one question. Now, I'm under the understanding that the moment you bring out the big scary word, artists beware, then suddenly they get off their lazy butts and they complete the commission. Now, have you tried that method of threatening?
I was about to. So the one artist that took a year for the picture, I finally got on their case over, and I literally sent them like a note like every week saying, is it done yet? Is it done yet? Is it done yet? And they eventually got off their ass and they finished the picture. This was a year and a half later, by the way. Wasn't exactly what I had hoped it would be, but it was a finished product, and every once in a while, sometimes you just have to eat your losses, But the $200 picture that took 3 years and I got a half completed sketch, I was in the process of writing up an Artist Beware post, and this particular artist had sent the original payment plus like an extra $40 back to my PayPal that day. And I was a good couple hours away from writing up an entire article on AB, and I was like, oh well, all right. I mean, I guess at least I got, payment back, so that's fine. I guess I can deal with that. Like, I have no problem paying up front if it's artists that I know and artists that I trust. I have no problem with that. I have friends that are great artists, and I will gladly pay them weeks, months before whatever it is I commission is done. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but however,
you can also watch them, see if they release update regularly.
Oh, yeah, and that was the other thing. This one that took 3 years was posting a ton of other shit in his FA the entire time.
So maybe he was just backed up.
I mean, if he... if he was backed up, I can understand that. But, 3 years, I highly doubt he's that busy in 3 years. I was still dating when I commissioned that piece.
That's
blackmail, ladies and gentlemen.
I hate to say there's a lot of furs that kind of need some sort of instructional as to how to really treat their business, because there's some shenanigans going on.
Usually how I do it when I'm commissioning an artist, I set like a time limit.
For most of the stuff that I get, just 1 month is about average for me. And I'm totally fine with that. I understand that, if you really break it down, the amount of work that they do and the amount of time they take to do it, they're really not getting paid a whole lot per hour. And I totally understand that. If you got other stuff you have to do, that's fine. I have an artist that I go to quite frequently, and if you look on my FA page, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. But I commissioned him in, I think, April, and it's now the middle of September. And I messaged him back in, I want to say, when did I message him? It must have been back in the beginning of July. And I said, hey, just, kind of wondering what we're doing with updates. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot to tell you. I just got married. I'm like, that's totally fine. If you just got married, go enjoy your married life, And, at least they're giving me the opportunity to give me updates,
and at least they're being honest too.
Yeah, right. This other one didn't. Totally silent for 3 years, and that's like I can't do that. And it sucks because that artist in particular was the one that actually got me into the fandom in the early 2000s. He was the reason that I got involved in the fandom, because I saw his stuff at the time. It was on what used to be known as Yahoo Groups. But I originally found his stuff there, and I was like, holy crap, this guy's awesome. But now it really sucks, because it's like, I would easily pay twice as much to get stuff done from you, but I can't give you any of my money anymore. I just can't do it. And I know other artists that I've commissioned in the past a couple times that, they follow the same policy. Pay me up front and you'll get the art when I get the art. And I was always like, I really don't know if I like the whole payment up front. And it's now
I've seen some that'll actually do the painting and hold the painting until they're paid, or the art.
And that's fine. At least you know that it's done.
And the way they'll do it, they'll have a notice on their profile saying who they're in the process of making something for, who's payment pending, who's paid, etc.
Right.
And it's like a little note to themselves.
That's probably my favorite style to do it, just because number one, it gives you automatic updates whenever they do anything like that.
You can see who else they're working on as well.
You can see all the other work they have to do, so you kind of have an understanding of what it is they've got in their backlog. I mean, that's totally fine. It's a professional way to do it, and I like that. But, there's other artists that say, pay me up front and you'll get your picture whenever I get around to it. And I'm like, I don't know if I like that.
Has anyone ever put up the policy of pay like a little bit now and I will show you a work in progress, and if you like it, then pay the rest later?
I've gotten that from some of the furry artists that I've commissioned. They'll say, pay me, I'll send you like the line sketch, and then if you like the progress so far, and then you want me to continue, then give me the thumbs up, and then send the payment, and I'll finish it.
And that's normally what I work with. And I like that the most, because I can sit there and go, okay, you can send the sketch and say, here's the sketch, and I say, all right, I like this, but can we change that and change that? And then he'll send me the new sketch, and then I say, good, paid. And then it's done.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the best way to do it. I don't know. It's just, to me, that was a really big damper for me, because that was like, I don't want to say my idol, but this particular artist was like, I don't know. He was one that I'd always wanted to get stuff from. And now when I actually had the opportunity to get stuff from him, it ended up being not at all what I was hoping it would be, and quite disappointing. And it sucks. But, it is what it is. It's a tough situation to be in, because in one end, you don't want to get screwed over. But at the other end, you don't want, because the artist doesn't want to get screwed over, because there's going to be people that just don't pay.
Yeah, indeed.
So...
Well, I mean, I think probably the healthiest thing to do is, if you are going to be getting anyone's up front, you should say, okay, give me a date you're going to have this done by.
Yeah.
See, the problem with that, though, is like with artists, though, in general, I feel like giving them time to actually put the effort into it. That way you get a better picture out of it in the end, Obviously, that can be abused, in the situation where, I haven't got my picture, it's been 3 years now, But generally, whenever I tell people, I tell them no rush. Because, if I'm going to spend the extra money on art that's obviously just for leisure, then by no means I never rush people, because if you rush people, then you get a shitty product, and then you're not happy with it, and that just causes a bunch of drama anyways too,
I kind of wish more artists use Trello, because that's actually really cool. Trello is kind of like from what I've seen, it kind of helps you organize exactly where you are on your commission.
Oh, yeah, Trello?
Yeah.
Trello's awesome if you know how to use it.
Yeah, I just wish more artists use that, because sometimes that kind of helps with, hey, where are you on my art? Because then you can kind of just check, and yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard Trollo yet. All right, so I would like to move on to the guest interview. The guest interview is Atsu Fawx. Oh, yes. Atsu Fawx. So it sounded like you were in a mall before. I'm guessing you're still in a mall?
Definitely still here.
You got some really important shopping to do, don't you?
Yeah, I needed new clothes, totally. It's more actually because we're going to a fur meet. I don't want to have to make my roommate drive back and forth.
Yeah, so Atsu Fawx, you are a fursuit dancer, and quite a good fursuit dancer, I must say.
Okay.
I believe I last saw you at Floor Wars at AnthroCon, and I'm under the understanding that you helped found Floor Wars. Am I incorrect in that assumption?
No, you're correct. It was generally the first talk about making a Floor Wars started in AC 2011 between me and Ronnie, or some people know him as Tauntaun, or Zeke the Hyena, because he has so many different fursuits that he's performed in, but we call him Ronnie.
Yeah, he was actually the guest on the last podcast episode.
Yes. Oh, well, there you go.
So cool, yeah. So you guys came up with it, and if people don't know what Floor Wars are, it's basically kind of like, think of it like a Pokemon battle, except instead of throwing Pokemon with a bunch of moves, you're throwing dance moves instead.
Interesting.
And instead of waiting until the other person faints, you wait until the judge says, all right, I like this one better.
It's more like a tournament style round where each dancer gets like a certain amount of time, and then at the end the judges definitely they pick who they think was better.
The first Floor Wars I saw was last year at AnthroCon, so I'm still very much a newbie when it comes to just the customs of it. I remember the first time I saw it, I was a little intimidated because I was like, uh-oh, what are these people doing? Are they trying to intimidate each other? Are they trying to impress the judges? Are they trying to get the biggest cheers from the crowds doing the best dance moves? And I was like, whoa, I've never seen anything like this before. But I gotta say, I am kind of thankful that I did miss To the Ranting Griffin because, I had to have the choice of either 2 or 4 wars. When it comes to, like, where you started, like, I remember talking to Remix before, and Remix, he helps, I think, run some of the AnthroCon Dance Comp, and he told me that he saw an episode of...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He saw an episode of So You Think You Could Dance, and that gave him his spark of inspiration. What gave you yours?
Well, technically, it's sort of the same thing. Like, I didn't see a show. I saw, like, literally just a small YouTube video. It was only, like, a minute long of a dancer. His name's Moon. I saw him, like, just tutting, and I thought it was, like, really, really, really cool. So I just sort of started mimicking that and then, like, researching into it. And, yeah, that's how I started, literally through YouTube videos.
And to educate everyone what tutting is.
In general, making shapes. Because tutting has evolved so much, like, people, especially with finger tutting and stuff, like, people do, like, circles and, like, weird monster-looking things. So the best way to describe it, in my opinion, is just making different shapes, specifically mostly generalized around squares and also like 90/45 degree angles because of the whole, like obviously the word tut is based off of King Tut, so it's an Egyptian based thing originally. Yeah. When I first started, literally all I did was tut. Like I didn't do anything else. All I could do was tut. So, after a while, I started like dabbling in other things, and now I do choreography mostly. So I would say more like a lot of people, the way they say it is just like you're an all styles dancer, even though you don't do every single style. It's just like your basis is so many things. It's not just like 1 or 2 things, Because
you're a teacher now, like you teach dance, you probably would want to learn all of them to help, expand your lessons.
Definitely. Like, I never put, I never put any particular style of dance down because, in any way, it's like any kind of art form, like there's some concept behind it as to why it looks like that. So for me, I never it's like, everybody has a personal favorite kind of thing, so like some styles of dance I don't like particularly enjoy, so I don't spend time learning them. But in another sense, like, yeah, being a teacher and, just wanting to learn as much as possible, I never close myself off to other styles of dance. Like if somebody's willing to teach me, or if I'm like, oh, hey, that looked really cool, I should learn that, I'll fucking go learn it, like, why not? Even if it's just the old-fashioned way of just watching YouTube videos and copying,
For me, one of the most fascinating things that I remember learning about hip-hop style dance when I first began was hip-hop style dance literally... It has nothing to do with, like, rap music. It's its own thing that could really encompass all forms of music. It's like street style as opposed to stage style.
I mean, the way I interpreted that is just, like, it is typically, like, generalized or, stereotyped as being only, like, rap music or only, like, well, some people think, like, ghetto-ish or, like, just hip-hop music in general, but everything that's categorized into hip-hop dance is a lot more, just everything. It's just like you could do a contemporary piece or like any kind of ballet piece. Like I've seen people do ballet. Like a good example is Kato at this year's AnthroCon Dance Comp. She did ballet, and her track was a mixture of classical music and dubstep. You can do whatever to whatever style, like it's like drawing with different medias. Like yes, you have a particular style of art, like let's say just mainly like pointillism or like shape-based stuff, but you can use different medias with it. Like you could use crayon or pencil or pen or whatever,
Usually, a lot more hip-hop style dance and dance comps, but for me, I think the reason why is just because it's one of those ones where you don't necessarily have to go to a class to learn it. With hip hop style dance, it's one of those things where anybody could do it at any time, and anybody could tut, anybody could pop, and it's just, I feel like it's more accessible, and that's why it's more prominently used. And I mean, for me, I think it's funner than tango.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, it's a lot more accessible just because of like today's age and stuff. As the like taking it back to So You Think You Can Dance, like stage dance. They emphasize training, you know, versus emphasizing freedom and stylization and personality. You know, like that's what, if you want to quote unquote it, like street dance or hip hop dance in general is about becoming something that you want to become rather than fitting the picture and dancing this particular way with this particular step, you know?
Although, when I do see you in dance comps, you do tend to mix hip-hop music with the hip-hop style dance, and you like, I think you're one of the few artists, or one of the few dancers that likes to use Nicki Minaj a lot, and I love Nicki Minaj. She's great.
Yeah. Half of doing dance comps it's kind of like a formula I have where it's like how much of this is really going to like get the crowd into it, how much of this is going to catch the judge's eye, and how much of this is going to portray that attitude of like I'm here to win kind of thing, you know? So, because I've done dance comps where I'm like I haven't used a hip-hop song at all, like FCN. I just did that because I had like some feels that I needed to get out, so I was like, I'm going to do this dance to this like alternative / R&B song, you know, and it came out great. I really liked that because it was just feeling, but that was hip hop dance too.
You'd also acknowledge most of the fandom is young adults. So, and what do young adults mostly listen to? Well, looking at the charts,
hip hop. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's changing now to where people are looking more at the actual skill behind the dance and stuff.
I found your channel, and I had no idea that dance commissions was a thing, and it got me really fascinated, and it got me thinking, whoa, is this something that anyone could do, or you have to first win AnthroCon dance competition before it's like, all right, I know what I'm doing. Get in the line. I'll make you your dance.
Yeah. I mean, the way it started out was like when I first moved to Pittsburgh, I was super poor because of a bunch of financial situations and stuff, and I literally had no money. And I had literally just won the dance comp right after that. And originally, it was a couple months earlier before then, actually sometime around March 2012 when I posted this out. I was like, would anybody like, because people are always like, hey, you should dance to this music, you should dance to that music, do this song kind of thing. And I was always like, well, would you guys be willing to like pay like $5 and I'll freestyle this song for you just so you can like sort of see it and that sort of stuff, you know? And so I was talking to people and they were all like, yeah, we would totally be interested in that. And then when I actually opened it originally, I got literally no responses because, for one, like, obviously I was, like, a little less popular, but for two, I didn't even have my suit yet. So I think people, like, in general were looking mostly just to, like, see fursuiters dance and stuff like that. So when I opened again, right after I had won AC Dance Comp, I got a couple. It was, like, 4 or 5, and I knocked them out real quick, and then I just sort of kept going with it, and it just became a thing, really. Like, people actually would like to pay money to see me dance, or to see any fursuiter dance, really, because, like, honestly, there's a couple other people I've seen that do it, like Sadie actually did it a couple of times, and Sparky and Four, just to name a few. Like, I've seen people like, hey, I'm going to open dance commissions, and yeah, people would pay them to dance to a song that they want to see somebody dance to, especially in like a particular style, you know.
My first dance competition was Megaplex 2011. I had no idea that there was such thing as a dance competition, and you know, I eventually found out through conversations and stuff, and and I had just gotten into Michael Jackson and stuff like that, and I always wanted to get on the stage and dance in front of people and show off a little bit. On a whim, I just went up and did very bad dance routine of Billie Jean in 2011. Then I upped my game with Smooth Criminal the next year.
Now, because you've done all the Megaplex dances, I'm assuming you remember when that fursuiter fell off the stage and then continued his act, right?
Yeah.
Actually,
what?
to interrupt the interview, I'm really curious. I mean, I think this is the only time that's ever happened. Like, there was a fursuit dancer that fell off the stage during his dance.
But the previous years, the dance floor was on the floor, and this was like the first time that they were actually trying the stage.
Oh no.
And there were literally no lights. So you could not see shit. So when you got up there and started dancing, good luck. Media was doing Section You Know It dance routine, and he just kept like, and no one's like saying anything because you could see him like getting closer and closer, and then all of a sudden you just see him like drop out of frame. But
Oh my gosh.
Dude was okay. He has so much heart and dedication because he got right back up and got right back into it and finished his routine.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not gonna lie. Like, he is one of the
crazy.
most respected dancers in the fandom, in my opinion. Like, as much as like people don't mention him, he is easily like even one of my inspirations. Like when I used to just watch Fursuit dance videos, like back in the, like 2010 and 2009 and stuff. Like you would see like Media and B and Four and JD and just like people like that. I think Media definitely is like sort of like not mentioned enough in my opinion, honestly. Like,
so a little while back, I tried to gather up all of the Fursuit dance competition videos, categorize them, put them in one place, and I found out by counting it all up, Media actually has done the second most Fursuit dance competitions.
I can believe it.
So
yeah, he's been just about in all of them. I wanted to touch on the different.
No, you can't touch Atsu. I mean, he might be the special guest, but you got to keep your hands away. You know. Yeah.
Yo,
Suiting is not
quick.
consent.
I'm gonna lay this down real quick. We're on the podcast. This shit's gonna be public too. My name is pronounced Atsu.
What did I
everybody
say?
knows. No, I'm not saying that you said it. I'm just saying, like, in general, because I've had, like, a lot of people mispronounce it, especially, like, in the middle of a dance comp. Like, they'll announce me and they'll say Atsu, and I'm like, bruh. So, yeah, it's Atsu. Just throwing that out there.
But, yeah, you've really made a big effect on the Fursuit dance competition world by doing the floor wars, helping judge. I'm guessing you helped... You help organize quite a few of these too, right?
Yeah, of course. Like right now, me and Remix and Ronnie together, we run the AnthroCon dance comp. We just started doing that this year, and then beforehand, I had helped out previously at like MFF and AC as well. And then I compete. I haven't touched FWAs. I usually just compete there.
I actually just recently saw this. So I don't know if you discussed it or not already. Because my friend Kaiju was in the FWA thing.
Yes, yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, she had a fun time. But I saw that they had messed up your music. How did you feel about that?
Okay, I personally didn't even care. All I wanted to do was just redo it. But there had already been so many problems that a bunch, like the entire crowd practically were like super salty about it and like really angry. And I'm personally like, in my opinion, AV crew, like obviously there's a lot of mess ups and stuff, but it's a hard job. So like I wasn't mad at all. And that might just be me because I like worked retail and stuff for so long, but I hate when people are like just super unappreciative and all they do is like be rude to you because the audience.
Just I can understand that, they were in a new venue to begin with, so if there was a lot of mistakes, I could see that happening.
Exactly. That's why I wasn't mad at all about it. I felt more sorry for him. I was like, oh shit, you're gonna.
Yeah, especially when the crowd was like screaming.
Oh my god,
I felt bad. I was like, I would hate to be the mixer for that. I'm just like, oh
yeah,
god.
Exactly. I would
hate to be
very
upstage
happy if I was in that position. But being on stage and like having it cut out, I was more just like, oh really? Like this really happened? Okay, well let's redo it. And a lot of people thought I was really mad, but I wasn't at all. Honestly, I was just like, whatever. Like that's the way I practice. Honestly, like once I finish choreographing my set, I just replay it over and over and over and over. Because I don't practice in suit. I only practice out of suit. So I just like run it multiple times. That way I build up my endurance and stuff. But
we talked about that performance on this podcast before, and one thing I remember somebody mentioning is that everyone was really impressed that, oh, wait a minute, this isn't freestyle. We kind of assume everything's freestyle because I think a majority of fursuit dancers do freestyle as their main dance. But when you did the same moves again, I think a lot of people were surprised.
I mean, originally, like, I want to say like a good, like 2010 even, because that was my first dance comp, AC 2010. Like, a lot of people, they just freestyled, or like they, what I call bookmark. Like, you have like, okay, I'm going to do this at this point, and then freestyle a little bit, and then I'm going to do this right here. You know what I mean? So, a lot of people still do that kind of stuff, but it's beginning to be like, especially at AnthroCon and like really big cons, a lot of people like actually really prepare. Like they're like, okay, I'm going to make this specific mix, and I'm going to choreograph this, and I'm going to make sure that I do this at this exact moment, And a lot of people, like I know a majority of dancers now actually they do that, or they at least bookmark. Like whereas before they were just like, oh, well, let's just play this song for however many minutes and I'll just freestyle to it. Like now people make specific mixes, which is nice, because like it used to be like people would play one song and you get kind of bored of it as an audience member. You're like, okay, well, I'm done with this. It's like 2 minutes in and they're still doing the same song. Having a mix really helps, but I don't know. Like a lot of people choreograph stuff, but me, I've always personally like everything except my FWA 2014 performance wasn't fully choreographed. But everything else besides that, I choreograph everything 100%.
Thing that fascinates me is like how do you go about not only memorizing the choreography but like writing it down. Let's say, oh, I just found this really great dance move. How do you know you're not going to forget that tomorrow? Because I know for me, my temporary memory is awful.
Because you practice it every moment you got, you practice it till it's like second.
But it doesn't answer the question of, okay, boom, you thought of a dance move. How do you know? Just because you practice it 10 times one day doesn't mean you're going to remember that dance move tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the problem with it, honestly. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, my first winning performance, AC 2012. The last like 15, 20 seconds of it, I forgot what I was doing. Like, I had this point where I was like, oh shit, I forgot my move, and you just start freestyling a little bit, and then I caught myself back up. But it's one of those things where it's just like practice makes perfect. So if I'm gonna like practice a move a bunch of times, I'm not gonna go into my like whole choreography process because I like to keep that kind of secret. But basically, like it does sort of like it just
secrets.
I do. Yeah, it's a secret, but I do, like, I study up and I make a mix, and then I start thinking about what I want to do and like how I want to portray myself, and I just dance, and then slowly the choreography comes. Like, it's like a diamond. Like, I'm like, okay, I got this big lump of coal. It's like shit right now, so I just like fine tune it into something nice.
I'm sure I'll interview you again in 50 years, and you'll be like, the secret is. My heart. Like, no!
Honestly, like it's not even like that big of a secret. It's not like I have like some super like
their drink,
efficient way of doing stuff. It's just it's a personal way of doing things, and like everybody has their own way of making choreography, and I have mine, and I don't like to hand it out because in my opinion, like it's better that you find your own way versus like copying off of somebody else's way. It's good to take inspiration, but it's not good to like entirely mimic somebody.
Have you seen dancers take other people's choreography and don't give credit?
It's typically not a problem in the fandom, but recently, like with all the people really pushing for doing dance comps, so they really want to do well and stuff, and there have been a couple of cases where there's like either a segment or like an entire piece in this case is like basically stolen is the right word for it. It's not a good thing to do. Obviously, like if you want to just learn that piece and use it as like knowledge and practice for yourself, that's great. It's like literally that's pretty much how everybody learns anyways. Like when you're starting off, you're not going to be like, okay, I'm going to start dancing and I'm just going to make shit up. Like it's more like you like, especially nowadays, like people watch YouTube videos and like, oh, I want to look like that, so they start mimicking. Like that's how you learn. So that's okay, but when you're going to go on stage, especially in a competition, like that's not cool to like basically in a sense almost cheat yourself, especially out of stuff. Like, you don't want to get up there and perform somebody else's set. Or, like, even in this case, like, there have been cases where people watch, like, famous choreographers and, like, other dancers and stuff, and they'll use their sets in fursuit dance comps. That's not really okay either, because even though it's obviously, like, it's a furry competition, you're not, like, getting up on World Dance or anything, but you're still in a competition where you should be playing technically, I guess, by the rules. But the hard choice is like judges can't tell right off the bat for the most part, and neither can the crowd, So it's like, oh, that was really good, and then you find out a month later, oh, that was stolen choreography. It's like it leaves a really salty taste in your mouth. It's like, it's just not a cool thing to do. And generally, like if the person gives credit, that's better, but they still shouldn't do it anyways, because it's not a cool thing to do.
Now, am I ever going to see a fursuiter at World of Dance in my lifetime?
Okay, so about that, yes, I want to say, but at the same time, I'm trying to think. I would say yes regardless, but the way, me personally, I was thinking it is, I want to be one of the first people to, like, do that. Like, one of the goals for Fraternity was, like, eventually go to World of Dance and perform, and compete, and just, like, not as a joke, but as, like, a serious thing, like, literally, okay, like, this will be our costume, because people wear costumes for, like, World of Dance and HHI and stuff. So, like, a goal definitely is for me is to, like, go there as fursuiters and, like, perform and just, like, obviously it'll be, like, very a mixed reception, but in my opinion it would just be a great way to, like, shed a little tiny bit of light on the fandom in a way is, like, hey, we're not what everybody thinks we are. We can actually, like, do stuff that's, like, cool like everybody else that's normal, like, we're gonna go and do an actual full competition. Shady as it says, do it well, though. Like, I don't want to get up there and, like, not look good. I want to get up there and, like, look great. That way people are like, oh, like, wow, that was really cool.
The videos that have been racking up the most views are by fiction, like, the winner of one of the So You Think You Could Dance competitions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. But when you see him, do you think, oh, I want to learn that move, or is it more of an inspirational type thing?
For me personally, it's more like I would like to get to that level. It's not like as a particular style. Like some of his moves, obviously, are like, wow, that was really cool. But I'm past the point where I'm like, I don't look at moves in general. I look at styles. So like, obviously, he has a particular style. It's not in a sense like how you would think of the word style, where it's like, oh, he's doing popping, or oh, he's tutting. It's more like a mixture. It's his style is like the best way to describe it. So like for me,
his
it's
signature.
Like, yeah, exactly. So it's like I wouldn't personally like, I don't want to learn that style because I know it's his, but I would like to get to that level with my style to where if I'm performing as a solo act, just as like a little showcase, people are going nuts, you know, like that would be really cool to have.
And now you've done quite a lot of judging, so when you get into judging a fursuit dance competition, I know you have a piece of paper in front of you and it has different things, but what are things that you particularly think about when you see someone's dance?
I break people. A lot of the times I look really mean when I'm judging, but that's just because I'm focusing. I break everything down as much as possible. In that little like half-second split time of mine, I look at stuff and things are firing off in my brain like, oh, why did you put that move there? Why did you put this move there? Like I look at everything as a choreography sense, even though it's not choreography sometimes. The way I judge is like I look at somebody and I break them down. I'm like, okay, were you on the music for one, because it's the most important thing, musicality. Two, where are you getting your sense of style from? Like, is your style matching the music? Is it performing well? And how much cleanliness and just more so feeling is a big thing too. Like, are you just like, I'm doing this dance move, or are you like connected with your music? And that's what I look for when I'm judging. Yeah, it's just I end up looking really mean because I'm just like staring at you intensely, and it's really awkward. But,
oh no, trust me. I think most of the fursuit dancers are like me, and we can't see freaking anything.
Yeah, I know, definitely. Like you can't see anything in suit, but like you watch the videos back, and you're like, okay, I want to go see my performance because I've done this too, you know. And like you'll go look, and the judges are just like glaring at you, and you're like, oh my god, am I like doing that or something? But yeah, it's awkward for me. Like I love judging, but I hate it at the same time because it's just. It sucks, you know? It's like, for me, is the biggest thing that I hate about judging is literally, like, you're putting somebody that's worked so hard. Like, they made it through the prelims, they made it to the finals, they prepared for this, you know? They have, like, a mix, they have choreography sometimes, and then you just, like, sit there and you just judge them, you know? Like, you're just like, oh, that was bad, oh, this was good, I'll do this better, you know? And it just sucks sometimes. You're just like literally breaking somebody down after they built themselves up so much, and it's just sucks, you know.
But yeah, you're in a very fortunate place. You get to be a part of the organizer of probably what's now becoming like an absolute staple of the big furry cons. You know, like I remember
definitely.
With FWA, in order to actually watch the competition, I had to find a chair, and I had to get on that chair. I wonder if the next step is fursuit singing competitions.
Honestly, dude, I would die to see something like that, because like that's another talent that is just literally so underappreciated. Like,
oh, that would be so much fun.
Yeah, I think it would be
that
great.
That sounds very interesting.
Like, even if it's like not even in fursuit, like if it was like a floor wars kind of thing, or not like a sing off, but like just like a singing competition in general, even out of suit, I would go watch that, because singing is just amazing to me, because I can't sing. I'm literally like, my nickname is Happy Feet. Like I mumble. Like literally that movie is about me. I cannot sing for the life of me, but I can dance. So like to me, singing is just like the coolest thing. Katie and teammate and a few other people have like really thought about making this a thing, or like an acapella competition sort of thing.
But yeah, it could be kind of like fursuit dance competitions where, I mean, anybody of any skill could just come up there, and as long as they're having fun, it's you know, it's all worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you could confirm that fursuit dance competitions, it's not necessarily just for people who have been dancing all their life. It's for beginners. It's for people who...
No.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. That's the whole, like, we added we didn't, but JD and Neo, like, they're like the main organizers for the past few years of the bigger cons. They added the novice category, and it's great to see. Like, you see so many new talent, and they're really good too. It's not just like, okay, they just started. It's like literally like you into the novice category and you watch the finals, and they're really, like, sometimes even, like, they're giving the veterans a run for their money, you know? They just don't have that self-confidence yet. So it's literally great to see, like, you can start up at any point in time, and, like, you're never, like, a lot of people say, oh, I'm too old to start up now and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, that's not true. Like, a lot of people think, oh, this person's been dancing so good, they must have started when they were, like, 2. Meanwhile, like, me, I started when I was almost 18, you know? So it's like, it's just stuff like that. Like, literally anybody can start at any point and make it to the finals. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I felt very inspired when I saw, there's this one video that Gail put on her YouTube, and I think she said something along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing, if you know how to wiggle, you know how to dance.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's just literally it's like any kind of art. Like, if you can draw a stick figure, if you put enough effort into it, you could be Picasso. You know, it's just literally how much passion do you have for the art, how much drive do you have to become better, you know, how much love do you have for it, you know? Because, like, with me, I absolutely fell in love with dance. I really, 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 really sucked when I first started. But I just loved it so much that when you practice, you don't even feel like you're practicing. You're just like, oh, this is really fun. I enjoy doing this sort of thing. And you just keep going, you know, versus, like, people who do it just for, like, you know, hobby. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, like, if you want to get somewhere with it and you really want to be good, then you sort of have to put the work into it. You know, like, nobody's born amazing, you know.
Now, one thing that I have been thinking about a bit is every once in a while I see the dark underbelly of fursuit dance competitions. The hipsters! The hipsters who claim, oh, the only people who win are the popular furs! They never choose me! The true talent! And I'm like, when I hear it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so entertaining and interesting. I wonder what would the establishment think of these hipsters? And I just want to ask, like, have you run into that sort of attitude of, like, oh, only the popular furs get looked at and noticed because they're popular? I mean, even some of the YouTube comments, I'd say the hipsters mostly,
oh my god,
they mostly are on the YouTube comments. Like, that's where a lot of them congregate, where they're like, oh, this guy, he who won the dance comp, he has no skill. He's not even dancing. That's wiggling. I could do that. You know, but I even noticed in the Dancer Fur community, there's always a bunch of hipsters who are like, no, it's the popular furs that only, like, how would you respond to that amazing hipster theory that I've heard so many times that only popular furs
for me, win? It's there's some people who obviously, like, they have opinions, like, this person should have won instead of that person, that kind of thing happens. However, to say that somebody only won because they're popular is, like, in my opinion, just dumb. Like, I'm not gonna lie, at one point in time with fursuit dance competitions, that was a thing. Like, there was a popularity thing. Like, you look at it and you're like, okay, obviously the person who has full suit, who is popular, they're a popular fursuiter, obviously they're gonna place. That was a thing at one point in time, in my opinion. Like, just, it was the thing. There's no denying it. However, nowadays at most conventions, there's no fucking way that that's possible, because literally the way we even pick finals judges is based on their knowledge of dance, how much experience they have, and literally if they're not biased enough, you know, like, you can't be biased if you're going to be a judge.
So the whole popular factor, so that really did happen, but it only happens when you have people on the judges table that don't know anything about dancing.
Yes. So it's like, a lot of people are like, like con chairs, for example, they want to be like, oh, can we have this person as a guest judge? And you look at it, if you're running it, like, personally, I look at it like, this happened to us recently. We had to, like, really think hard about it, like, how are we going to do this? We don't want to have the judges' scores messed up based on somebody who has a bias or has no knowledge of dance in particular, especially with the way comps are going now, where there's so many different styles. Like, it used to all just be hip hop for the most part. Now they're like, we're seeing ballet, we're seeing contemporary, we're seeing modern, we're seeing ballroom, you know? So it's like, you can't just be, like, in a mindset of, okay, I'm going to watch the cutest fursuiter dance. Like, you can't. It's not going to work like that. And to my knowledge, most cons don't do that anymore. They pick judges with, you know, the right credentials and non-bias and stuff like that. And technically, you've seen results recently. Yes, there's certain people that are popular that are winning, but there also is a very high influx of people that are not known, that are brand new to competitions even sometimes, and they're fucking winning, you know? Like, they're placing already. So, it's definitely changed. So, in my opinion, the whole only popular furs and stuff like that win, that's complete bullshit, you know? Like, even me, like, my first con that I won was AC 2012, and I had literally just gotten my fursuit. It was brand new. Nobody knew who I was still. I was known, like, a little tiny bit because I did some stuff with LFO, but I literally, like, I was kind of a nobody back then, too. So, it's not... And I won based on skill. So, it's like, you can't... Like, nowadays, you definitely can't say that, oh, that person won because they're popular. Because it's just not true. There's no way.
Yeah, and to inform everyone, LFO is a dance crew that Atsu is a part of, Last-Fur-One, and you guys organize the floor wars. How come there is a big emphasis on hiding the judges' scores? Because I've heard before the defense that hiding the judges' scores in, like, you know, trying to throw it away, making sure no one sees it, the reason for that is to prevent drama, which I completely don't understand that argument.
Okay, the way the argument works is, it's kind of like, the way this started out sort of was, they were like, okay, let's show there used to be a crowd vote, there still sort of is, for MFF and AnthroCon. We didn't do it this year at AnthroCon because of technical difficulties, but at MFF there's a crowd vote where you can, like, text a number based on your favorite suitor, and that, like, gives them basically one judge's point for whoever, like, places the highest, you know? And this happened at MFF 2012, and it showed basically who was voting for who, and then, like, if you look, like, there's Duke, there was Mia Nakado and Ronnie as Zeke, and then, like, a few other people that had, like, a couple hundred votes, and then there's, like, a shit ton of people at the bottom that have zeros. And how do you think that makes them feel? Where it's just like, wow, literally nobody's voting for me. I have zero people that liked my performance. So, in a sense, it's the way releasing the judges' scores goes, especially since we're all furries, we all, like, pretty much know each other, we all talk to other people. You tell one person the scores, and that person tells 5 people, and that person tells 25 people, and then sometimes it gets messed up, and there's not exact numbers, and then people get up, like, it ends up with rumors, like, oh, why didn't this person place me higher? How did this person place over me if they did worse than I did? And blah blah. It just creates salt, and that is just something we're not interested in causing. You know, like, you enter a competition, for the most part, like World Dance, you don't know your scores except the top 3 placements, and, like, the special categories for best costume and best story and stuff like that. And, like, I've competed in quite a few different competitions for as far as crew choreography goes, and I've only ever been to one that gives you your scores afterwards. And it's not they give you the entire, like, scores for everybody. They just give you your score in particular, you know? So, in my opinion, that's just not something that's done normally, just to prevent, for one, like, breaking, you know, somebody's confidence. You're not like, oh, hey, by the way, you were the worst person in the dance competition. Like, that fucking sucks. Nobody wants to know that, you know? So that's basically the reason we don't release judges' scores. We keep them hidden and confidential due to that fact of we're trying to prevent, for one, breaking down of people's confidences, for 2, rumors, for 3, just assault in general. We don't want people going against each other because they placed, like, 1 point differently and won something or didn't win something, you know?
That makes sense. Remove the salt, add the sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, cool. Well, all right. Thank you, Atsu, for this lovely interview.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Episode 41 concluding. Goodbye.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye.
Later.